to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a show by the people, for the people, and you, my friends, are my people. So the more interaction we get from you, the better we like it, because you're the reason that we do this program. In today's show, wait till you hear what Gavin Newsom has to say about biological males in women's sports, and Shedeur Sanders saying some things that just might impact his draft status. We'll give you the skinny on both of those things. We've got America's poll of the day. We got a lot of comments. Ray Ferraro is going to be joining the program later. But let's begin with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Couple of folks that we talk about on this program from time to time, and the tension between them has been mounting since the drafting, really, of Bronny James in the second round by the Lakers last year. Stephen A. has been very vocal that Bronny James is not an NBA player. Not at this point in time. And as the season has gone on and Bronny's play has borne that out, Stephen A. has continued to say that the young man has been put in an untenable position, and the ambitions of the father are perhaps interfering with the best interests of the son. Last night, it came to a head in a tense moment after the Lakers defeated the New York Knicks. LeBron James approaching Stephen A. Smith and bringing a little bit of smoke. Let's take a look. There is the scene. LeBron talking to Stephen A. And if you're a lip reader, and I don't know how good you are at reading lips, LeBron reportedly saying to Stephen A., keep my son out of this shit. Right there, courtside, in front of everybody, and now in front of the world as it starts to make its way around social media today. LeBron clearly pissed. We can't see what, if anything, Stephen A. is saying in response to LeBron. But we certainly have all the reason in the world to believe that this is a father being protective of his son, going after the influential media personality who has been a thorn in his side all season long, calling into question the entire Bronny James situation. LeBron, what did you expect? What did you expect? Look, this was your dream. We saw a kid last year, your son, at USC, average about 5 points a game with poor shooting. He shot under 40% from the field, didn't score, wasn't a critical member of that team, and it wasn't even a good team. So you got a kid who isn't a key player on really a bad USC team. And while there may be potential there, I don't think anybody saw him as an NBA player based upon his play last year. And as many have noted, if his name had been Bronny Washington and he was somebody else's kid, there's no way he'd be within a million miles of an NBA facility right now. He needed more seasoning. I've said it before. He needed at least another year in college. He probably should have played all 4 college years that he had eligibility for and then move forward, because this kid is LeBron James' son, and the comparisons pretty much stop there as basketball players. He's averaging 1.4 points a game. He's 8 of 31 from the field in his brief NBA career. Yeah, we got the feel-good moment. We can check it off for historical posterity. The father and the son on the court at the same time, teammates, but it wasn't exactly Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. Because in that scenario, Ken Griffey Jr. was the number one prospect in baseball. And he was coming. Whether his dad's name was Ken Griffey Sr. or his dad was somebody else, he was going to the major leagues. And obviously, his talent was borne out by the fact that he now resides in Cooperstown for eternity. Bronny James is there because this is a dream that LeBron has had for years and years and years that he wanted to fulfill. And because LeBron pretty much runs the Lakers organization, he got what he wanted. We'll draft your son in the second round, even though he has no business being here. Late second round picks or flyers anyway. All right, we got to keep the boss happy. We got to keep the franchise happy. And so the organization went along with it, even gave him guaranteed money, which is a fucking joke. Because first of all, he shouldn't have been drafted. But even if you want to squint until you say, well, it was the 56th pick, he's got some talent, okay, fine, well enough. He never would have gotten guaranteed money if he was somebody else. So here we are, LeBron. You got what you wanted, and now you're going to be helicopter dad. Now you're in front of everybody too. LeBron, you know you could have handled it with a phone call. You could have handled it via text. You could have handled it in any number of ways. You could have handled it privately. But you chose to chew Stephen A. out right there at courtside in front of the world. And why did you do it? Because he's told the truth. Stephen A. ain't perfect. We criticize Stephen A. on this show from time to time. But what has Stephen A. Smith said about you and your son that's not true? Bronny is not good enough to be in the league. He got drafted because of your ego and because of your wishes of this fantasy that you wanted to fulfill. Against his best interests, by the way. You should have let Bronny develop instead of trying to accelerate this in order to check something off of your bucket list. Because where is your kid now? He's been the subject of all kinds of media criticism that, while fair, it's largely not his fault. Because what's he doing? Like a lot of sons, a lot of children, he's trying to make his dad proud. He wants you to be proud of him. He doesn't want to let you down. And so now you've dragged him into deep waters. He's drowning, and you want to shoot the messenger, Stephen A. Smith, who simply is acknowledging what is obvious for all of us to see. We'll keep you posted on this story as we go forward. I got a feeling that we haven't heard the end of it quite yet. Daddy, can I have hush puppies? We got no time for that shit. I wonder if that's how LeBron feels now as he drags Bronny around. There's nothing more heartwarming than the bond between a father and his son. Look, LeBron loves his kid. I have no doubt that LeBron wants what's best for his kid, but he got blinded. He wanted the moment. He wanted the dream. And LeBron, of all people, you know he's not ready. LeBron, you're a top 5 player all time in the history of basketball. And some would say that I'm selling you short by giving you anything less than number 2 status. And maybe you are the second greatest player of all time. But you certainly know that he's not ready. You had to know. If I know, then you sure as fuck knew. And now you've dragged him out here and you're mad at other people for the results of your plan not working out. Well, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I believe it was the great philosopher who said that. Was that Plato? Was that Aristotle? No, it was Mike Tyson who said that. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And unfortunately, Stephen A. has been punching you in the mouth with the truth. and you don't like it. Dave Portnoy weighing in on this matter, expressing his sympathy for Bronny James. My heart aches for Bronny James, says Dave Portnoy. Poor kid doesn't belong in the NBA. He can't quit. He didn't ask for it. His dad created an impossible situation for him. He's a make-a-wish kid in the NBA. I just hope his dad's insatiable ego doesn't ruin his love for this beautiful game. Bronny James needs to go to the G League, and he needs to toil in anonymity, or as close as you can get to anonymity, because, see, that's the problem. You're Bronny James. Your life is a spectacle in a soap opera, and wherever you go, that's going to follow you. But he doesn't need to be anywhere around the Los Angeles Lakers for a long time. Go somewhere to half-filled gyms and work on your game, and then let's see what Bronny James can develop into. It's the right thing to do. We'll see if LeBron has the willingness to allow his kid what he needs in order to have any kind of a future as an NBA player. Let me go now to the international streaming star who joins me on this Friday from Nashville, Tennessee. He has, of course, Ronnie T-shirts. And Ronnie, we've talked about it from the very beginning. You didn't have to be a psychic to know that this is probably how it was going to play out. Everything about Bronny James' pedigree as a basketball player, everything about this felt rushed. This is a kid who's not ready. I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking this. We were talking about it before the season ever began, and now here we are. We had one feel-good moment followed by the obvious fact that this kid is not an NBA player. What do you think about LeBron confronting Stephen A. in such a public fashion?
What did I say the other day on the show, Ricky? I said LeBron loves the spotlight. He loves to be the center of attention. You said he could have handled it with a text. He could have handled it with a phone call. He could have done it in the bowels of the arena. That's not what LeBron does. LeBron wants everybody to see what he's doing at all times, good, bad, indifferent. LeBron loves the spotlight. It's his favorite thing in the world. It's his oxygen.
We've said it before, Ron. Michael Jordan would never. Michael Jordan would have said, look, son, I'm going to be honest with you. You're a sorry-ass basketball player.
Well, he probably did say that because his kids played
Bulls
D1 basketball.
You. I'm saying his kid, his better kid was maybe as good as Bronny. We never heard anything about him. It would be
actually, it'd be interesting to pull stats from his. Was it Marcus? It would be interesting to pull stats from Marcus, see what he did in college.
He was the better one.
Yeah.
Better stats than Bronny, I would think. But Michael was wired to win. This isn't. LeBron thinks that he deserves all kinds of perks for being who he is. And that's the way that our society works in a lot of cases, Ron. I understand that. People who are wealthy, people who are famous, people who have a certain level of prestige, they don't play by the same rules as the rest of us. So they have leverage. They can do things. They can make their little dreams come true in ways that the average guy can't. And this is something that LeBron wanted, and LeBron did it at the expense of his kid. I don't doubt that LeBron had the best of intentions. Okay, I'm not saying that LeBron looked at this and said, I want this moment, fuck Bronny. I don't care if it's not in his best interest. I'm sure LeBron didn't look at it like that. Or at least I'm willing to give him that benefit of the doubt, Ron, as you make that face.
I don't know, but Ricky.
He at best, well, you're awfully cynical on this Friday morning. At best, it was misguided. At best. And I hope he feels bad about it, because Ricky, you're blaming the wrong guy. If anybody owes anybody anything, go to your son and say, Bronny, I'm sorry I put you in this situation. I love you. You have skills. We're going to get you in a situation where you can develop your skills and have your best chance of having an NBA career. But I'm sorry I put you in this situation because LeBron is denying the responsibility that he deserves for this by trying to lay it at the feet of Stephen A. Smith, who is simply just stating the obvious of what he sees as he watches, like the rest of us.
Yeah, Ricky, I was making the faces because, we can't say that LeBron is a great, he's a great basketball player. Like that can never be denied. He is a unbelievably great basketball player. So he recognizes talent. He knows who's good. He knows who's not good. He knew his son wasn't that good. Like you said, could you imagine if somebody, Bronny Cobb got drafted by the Lakers?
That's what I would have named my son, by the way, if I'd had one.
Bronny
5
Cobb.
daughters. I was waiting the entire time to drop Bronny Cobb on the world, and it just never happened.
But imagine
sucked
if
too. Look at me. Take one look at me, and then imagine how fucked up Bronny Cobb would be.
But then, it's that first practice, and everybody's assembled, and Bronny Cobb shows up, and he's got the exact same game and skills as Bronny James. LeBron would lose his mind. He would lose his mind. Why is this MFer on this court right now? Who picked him? Why is he here?
The rules don't apply to LeBron. They don't apply to him. Ron, let's pivot here and talk a little bit about women's sports. This came as a shock to a lot of people. Gavin Newsom sitting down with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk presses him on the issue of biological males in women's sports. And we got an answer from Gavin Newsom that, frankly, I didn't see coming. Let's listen and get your reaction.
So like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports,
right.
that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out say no.
No, and I appreciate
but like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. So that's easy to call out, the unfairness of that. There's also a humility and a grace, that these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety and depression. And the way that people talk down to vulnerable communities is an issue that I have a hard time with as well. So both things I can hold in my hand. How can we address this issue with the kind of decency that I think, is inherent in you, but not always expressed?
All right, Ron. Gavin Newsom sounding like Ronnie t-shirts there. Because I've heard you say pretty much the same thing that Gavin Newsom just said. Yes, we have sympathy and respect for transgender individuals who are trying to live their life and get through this difficult world just as we all are. And so should absolutely be treated with respect and dignity. I agree with Gavin Newsom on that. But he notes that there's a competitive problem. The difference between Gavin Newsom and you is you have been consistent in that all along, and this would be quite a reversal of course for Gavin Newsom. The cynic in me says he is, what's the word that you love to use about Gavin Newsom the most? There's one particular word.
Slimy?
Yes, slimy. All right, very good. Slimy. So what do you do if you're Gavin Newsom and you're this Machiavellian political animal? You look and you say, okay, 80% of people are against this. Gavin Newsom, smarter than some of his Democratic brethren, looks at it, sees the writing on the wall, realizes that he doesn't want to get down in that foxhole with the double and triple down crowd. So he's going to get on the popular side of the issue as he continues to try to feather his nest to make a White House bid in 2028. That's my take, Ron.
Ricky, we have a thing in our house where if you don't say it, it doesn't count. So like when we're watching a movie and we have a prediction for like what's going to happen next, you have to say it before it happens. You can't say after the fact, I thought that was going to happen. That's the rule in our house, and I'm about to break my house rule. I have been thinking this forever, but man, the easiest thing for a Democrat to do right now is to do what Gavin Newsom is doing. He figured it out. He's going to be the Democratic nominee for president for the next election, because all you have to do is go ahead, keep your core Democratic beliefs, but tone down the craziness. And that's what he's doing right now. It's absolute genius. It will play perfectly because, I mean, look at the dude. I say he's slimy, but you know what? He didn't look right there. He didn't look slimy to me. He looks presidential. Somebody got to him, or he figured it out himself. And this is a resurrection tour for him. Rehab. It's going to happen, Ricky. 4 years from now, well, I guess we'll probably know in 3 years. 3 years from now, we can talk about this conversation. He's going to be the Democratic nominee for president. Watch.
Ronnie, you're telling me to keep an eye out 2-3 years down the road. Do you think these fucking astronauts are going to get to come home before Gavin Newsom is the Democratic nominee
Their
in
fingers are crossed.
2028? Because listen to this. These they've been up there now for what, like 8 months or something? It's over 6 months now. But get this. This is the real kicker. Do you remember when Elon Musk said, like, hey, I'll send somebody up there. We'll send a SpaceX up. We'll pick them up. We'll bring them home. They're at the International Space Station, I believe, Ron, if that is correct. Listen to this. One of the astronauts confirms that Elon Musk offered to rescue them, but Joe Biden rejected it. Let's listen.
Our next question is from Aaron Gregg with The Washington Post.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for doing this. So my question relates to Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that, though, whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that maybe that you would be hoping for.
Well, that was candid. I think what we have there is a Republican astronaut who's tired of being in space and he wants to come home.
Have you ever been in your house
he's
for
getting
like
a little unfiltered in his
You've been in your house for 2
there.
or 3 days because it's like snowy and icy out, and like you're about to lose your mind because you've been in your house for 2 or 3 days?
Do you remember the pandemic? Yes.
Well, it was different in Tennessee, Ricky.
I
do not remember. It was way different here. Yeah.
We've still got people wearing masks up here, so it's a little different in Chicago.
8 months, dude. Like, if I have to be in my house for 2 days, I'm losing my mind. I got a wife here. I got a full pantry, a full refrigerator. I got some TVs. I got the internet. I have everything. And I'm losing my mind. I cannot imagine what these people are going through.
Imagine somebody is like, hey, we'll send a car for Ron to get him out of that situation. And then somebody else is like, Ron will be fine.
Nope.
Ron will be fine for another 6 months. Or ever how many months it's been. Can we get these poor people down?
Did you hear what I heard? The guy that grabbed the microphone and gave the answer kind of sounded a little bit like your Jerry Jones impersonation. Not asking you to do it, just saying it sounded a little bit like
are you sure you're not?
It's been a long time here at the International Space Station. I'm just thankful that Dak Prescott is not here because I can't stand to see him. That motherfucker, I'm paying him more money than he's worth, and we can't win a fucking playoff game. But the ultimate glory hole is getting to go home. Dallas Cowboys.
So I don't know, Ron. I'm going to do this until everybody hates it. Ron, look, we talked about the father, leading son astray to begin the program. How about some fatherly advice from Texas A&M basketball coach Buzz Williams? This is good shit right here. I'm just going to let the video speak for itself, and we'll see what you think about it, Ronnie. Here's Buzz Williams.
All right, thank you guys. I know a lot of you guys are students. I used to be like you, and I tell our guys this all the time. Make sure you function with, here's 4 things for you. Ready? How old are you?
19.
All right. I'm assuming you're in the Columbia, Missouri School of Journalism. All right. So here's four things that I write all people that I wish somebody would have told me. Number 1, you're going to type it? Or are you just recording it?
I'll type it.
Okay. Read more than you think you should. 2, write down everything, comma, about everything, comma, all the time, period. 3, over the next 10 years, build as many relationships as you can, comma, and learn to connect the dots between those relationships. 4, never turn down an opportunity to learn, comma, or to work. Good luck.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, there it is. Professor Buzz Williams speaking to journalism student. Missouri has a fine journalism program. I believe it's one of the most respected in the country. Ron, so Tim asked me, what are our thoughts on advice for young people? Not just journalists, but Ron, if you had 1 or 2 pieces of just general good life advice of what you've accumulated from your years on this earth for young people, what are a couple of things that might spring to mind for you?
I mean, the number one thing that I say to anybody that'll listen, and I'll say this to a 60-year-old, life is about relationships and experiences. Don't worry about the Rolexes. Don't worry about the Mercedes convertibles. It's relationships and it's experiences. Because when you're on your deathbed and you're holding your daughter's hand, you're not going to say to her, "Hey, remember that Rolex that I had?" No, you're going to talk about the experiences that you shared, and always focus on those things. Sure, it's nice to have a nice car, a nice house, other things that you enjoy, but you should be striving for relationships and experiences. And that's why I really, really liked number 3 that he had on that list.
Ron, I think that's great advice. I'll add a couple here as I thought about this. 1, and this is in all seriousness, choose your romantic partners well. Because I'll tell you right now, no matter how much you have going on good in your life, if you are with if you choose the wrong person to be at the center of your circle with you, it's not going to work out good. It's going to foul up other things. So be selective and choosy in who you let in your inner circle. And that goes beyond romantic relationships and to tight friendships as well. Make sure that you're very selective about who you give intimate personal access to you. Your heart, your emotions, your trust. Your wisdom. That's very important.
Yeah.
Yes, if I had it to do over again, I would have much stronger boundaries on what I would have tolerated around me in certain situations in my life. And then my other piece of advice, and this is kind of twofold, I guess. I'll break this into 2. 1 is pick something to do with your life. If you don't know what vocation you want, choose something that you like. Money is important. You have to pay the bills. I understand that financial considerations have to play into any career choice to some degree, just because that's the world we live in. But pick something you like. There's not enough money in the world to get up and go do something that you hate every day. And the money that you have, even if you make a lot, it is ultimately not going to profit you if you're miserable. And then the last piece of advice that I would have is hard work does pay off. And this is one that I don't know that I fully believed myself until my 40s. But I can tell you, if Super 70s has taught me anything, it is that relentlessly getting up every day and busting your ass and believing in something and trying will eventually pay off. It may not pay off on the timetable that you want it to. We want success tomorrow. We want success next week. We want success next month. We want success as soon as we can get it. It doesn't always come on your timetable, but if you work hard, you invest, and you commit yourself to something, eventually you will reap reward for that. So that's my advice